What's really good, gaming life? I'm Akil, the real deal with zeal and mass appeal, and I'm so glad you came to chill. We're about to talk about big, huge games, new game, Arcane Showdown. And you see, I got the squad here with me. I got CEO Tim Train, executive producer Zoe Bell, and the lead designer John Hawkins. How are we all doing so far?
Great.
Doing
Great.
fantastic.
Thank you for joining me. I have been passionate about gaming since I was a little kid, living this gaming life, and it's so awesome for me now that I work in this arena where I get to talk with people that are in the gaming industry. And what we want to know about is your gaming life. Can you tell us what games have you been playing recently? Are you really excited about? We'll start with you, Tim.
I have been playing Arcane Showdown over and over again. I know that that's a little bit of a cliche, but when you're in the run up to launch, then your entire field of view just becomes the game that you're putting out. You want to play it a ton, be sure that you've got all the bugs out. Any final last balance tweaks that I want to yell at John to like, John, you sure this card's too OP? We got to fix it. We're just doing that 24/7. Before that, I went on a pretty strong Animal Crossing jag. I was a late adopter for the Switch, but when COVID time hit, I stole the studio Switch because I couldn't get one without paying $1,000 on eBay. And I sat down and played Animal Crossing for the first month of Corona lockdown. So that's what I've been doing lately for games.
Yeah, thanks for showing. Animal Crossing is a way to kind of get past social distancing in the virtual world. You get to have a community in the game.
Yep.
What about you, Zoe?
So I'm a very, I think, typical for my demographic. I play like Words with Friends, a lot of games where I can play with my dad, and he says he's not a gamer, but he's a lawyer, but he plays like Words with Friends every day religiously for hours at a time. So I play a lot with him, and I've been playing Among Us a lot, yeah. So my husband likes to tell me I'm very sus. So.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's dope how you made your father a gamer and he doesn't even know it.
It's true. It's a secret thing for him.
And John, tell the people about your experience with games.
Yeah, so right now, I'm just like Tim, I'm playing a lot of Arcane Showdown, pretty much, every day. Also play a lot of Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, and then with my kids, I end up playing a lot of Fortnite, Minecraft, spend a lot of time on those games. Also, they bring me into Among Us too. Otherwise, sometimes they'll get me to like help them through some game, like what do they play? Like Phoenix Wright or what is that? Henry Stickmin, or games like that. And then I guess we were playing like in real life. We were playing this game called Ribbon Ninja. It was pretty fun. It was like kind of like you're pulling like ribbons off of people, like flag football and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one, but it sounds like your gaming life is very spicy. There's a lot of variety going on there. And of course, when it comes to Age of Empires, you were a top player.
Yeah, that's right. I played a lot of Age of Empires back when I was in college, actually. Played pretty much, I played more than I went to class, that's for sure. Definitely missed quite a few classes staying up late. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
And I heard Clash Royale be brought up. And I think that's very interesting because when I was researching Arcane Showdown and looking at all the great reviews on the App Store, a lot of people say they like the game better than Clash because there's a lot more deeper features. And before I talk about it, I want to know, what are your favorite features of the game? We'll start with John this time.
Yeah, so my favorite thing, especially if you're going to compare it to Clash Royale, like it's definitely that there's a little bit more depth to the game. Like you can actually build up an economy in the game. You don't have full information about the map and what's going on. And you can also kind of like build up your power over time. So it's like kind of the different phases of the game kind of have a different feel to them, and the power level's increasing as you go.
Okay, the ability to level up, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe, what are some of your favorite parts about Arcane Showdown?
So when we started thinking about what we wanted to make for a game a long time ago at this point, we thought about what Big Huge Games has always been good at. And, we're actually the second iteration of Big Huge Games, and there's a whole long story involving Kurt Schilling and other things, and the state of Rhode Island. But the original iteration of Big Huge Games, did Rise of Nations, and Baltimore in general, which is where we're based, is home to lots of RTS studios and lots of people who've worked on them for 25, 30 years. And our studio has a lot of people like that. Firaxis is here, Civilization. It also goes even further back to Microprose. So we were thinking, what we don't see on mobile is a real RTS. And that's what we want. We want to have a real RTS on mobile. We want to play it, and it's not there for us, so let's make it. And that's what we did. And so that's what I like about our game, is that it's it's inspired by these classic RTSs, but it's made for mobile and for Steam and all platforms. But it's really made so you can play it anywhere, and that's what I like. It's an RTS that you can play anywhere.
Thank you. I love to hear that, especially about you mentioning the adversity of what you had to overcome with Big Huge Games. And you talking about you creating what you want to see in the industry. I love to hear that. That's what the gaming life is about. So thanks for sharing that. What about you, Tim? Do you have any favorite parts of Arcane Showdown?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing from Arcane Showdown, from my perspective, is alluding to something Zoe said, is it's a game that we want to play. One of the first things we learned at Sid Meier's knee, way back in the Civilization days, is that's the way to find an audience. So just make a game you want to play. And so we prototype games very heavily, and that means that every single day we're playing the game, we're refining the things that we think work about the game, and we're getting rid of the things we think don't work about the game. And that whole process of creating something like that is just a joy every single day. And so now at the end of the project, this is a game that I love. I can't tear myself away from it. I'm playing it an hour and a half a day, even though I'm not really adding anything to the game, to the development anymore. So yeah, I'm just glad that there's something on mobile that I'm just really excited to sit down and play.
Well, not only does it seem like you all love it, like I mentioned, reading the reviews, there's a lot of positive reviews, and I was looking up some gameplay, and what really amazed me compared to the other games I see on mobile that are maybe we could compare is the fact that you could go across and attack the enemy. The deck building aspect, I think, is very ambitious, what you did here with Arcane Showdown. No doubt about it. So will you tell us a little bit more about your individual roles in creating Arcane Showdown? And this time we'll start with Zoe.
Sure. So I'm the executive producer, so I work really a lot with John and with our product team to decide, what should actually go into the game. John has this creative vision, and my job is to kind of help him execute that and make sure that we ship a game that is high quality, that ships on time, that doesn't burn out the team, and that's really, really fun in the end, because that's what matters, is it fun. And so I work with all departments, all the leads of all departments, to kind of coordinate everybody on the team to make sure that happens, and then do things like this and get the word out about the game.
All right, thanks for keeping everybody together and making sure that everyone's sane as well. Yep. It sounds like.
Yes, yeah, it's a big thing for Big Huge Games, is to make sure that the team, is able to have a life outside of work, and also because we feel like that makes a better game when their developers are happy and having fun in their lives. That really helps.
I agree. So when you have that passion and when you're happy, you're going to create something with love. What about you, Tim? Besides playing the game every day for hours, having fun, how are you involved with Arcane Showdown?
Yeah, so I've been developing strategy games now for 30 years. And so what I try to do is enable the creative vision of John and the other leads of the team. And so that's being sure that we have the right people in place. I'm pretty atomically involved at kind of the heartbeat of development in terms of the game design, sitting in on the design meetings, playing in a lot of the daily games. And I have to be very careful to distinguish my feedback that I, always want people to take with, for what it's worth. I'm just one of the players, from anything that might come across as direction, because with John's extensive background in strategy games, he he doesn't need any more randomization from me. So mostly I'm there to backstop the team, enable them. You know, if I see thematic things from, you know, being in strategy game development for a long time, then I try to point that out to them. But it's always up to the team to decide what they want to do with that feedback.
Thank you for your role, and I'm sure everyone appreciates your expertise, all the knowledge that you're bringing to the table when it comes to gaming. So even though it seems like you're trying to let everybody have their freedom, I'm sure they appreciate your input.
Sometimes, sure, but you know, at the end of the day, it's just another random opinion of somebody who really likes the game a lot. And they, you know, part of the fun of designing these games, if you're John, you know, is to take all these different inputs from players, from people in the studio, and try to synthesize that into actionable feedback where you just make the game better every day.
Yeah, John, will you tell us a little bit more about how you take everybody's feedback and you decide on what you're going to do when you're creating a game like Arcane Showdown?
Right. So, I mean, my job is basically to like kind of be a sponge for all the ideas. Some of them are coming from me, some of them are coming from other people on the team. Sometimes they're feedback from players, and just kind of absorb all that, hold it in my head, like what the game is or what it should be and what it shouldn't be too. Like, cause we've, you know, sometimes we go down different paths and it doesn't work. So we got to like cut those off. So it's just holding that all together. And then as I'm like kind of interacting with people on the team, or as we're developing new ideas, just trying to make sure that it kind of fits that vision. So like, you know, my role is not just to like necessarily come up with the ideas, but also to just like hold it all together. And then like, for me, like, I think, you know, like there's a lot of like helping the other designers like create like features for the game. But like the most important thing for me is like just playing the game and making sure that what people are actually playing in the game is fun and is matching what we want from it.
Sounds like a lot of work to absorb everybody's input. Kudos, John. Well done. It's really impressive to me how you all came together as a team. And I know there's other people that worked on Arcane Showdown, but to see people that are passionate, have their own skills come together and create something, that's what the gaming life is about. And I'm curious if you would share the biggest obstacle that you overcame individually when it comes to working on Arcane Showdown, or something that you're really proud of that you accomplished with Arcane Showdown. And for this one, let's hear from you again, John. You can start it.
I'd say like the biggest obstacle, I think, I mean, it's not just for this game, but for any game, is like kind of you have a vision in your head, like we talked about, but like getting like everyone else excited about it and on board, and like making sure that they can see it when they're playing the game. So for me, like any game, but even this game, it's like making sure that everyone can see what's fun about the game when they're playing it. So.
Well, I think you did a great job so far of taking everybody's input, putting it into the game. And I'll mention again, not only did I look at it, but I wanted to see what the people were saying. And I've seen nothing but positive reviews so far. What about you, Zoe?
Thank you.
Hey, well done.
So I think maybe one of the biggest obstacles that we overcame kind of happened right before I actually joined the team. So it's a little bit me and a little bit beforehand. So like the team had been working on a prototype, like a small team had been working on a prototype for a while, and they were trying to kind of do a mashup of two different genres, and it just wasn't totally gelling. And so when right before I came on the team, we decided to kind of reboot it. And then, you know, it's really challenging, I think, as a team to say, okay, we liked some of the things about this, but we need to kind of turn it, you know, on its head and do a slightly different version of the game. Or even, you know, a substantially different version of the game, and make it feel different and make it not have the problems of the original prototype. And so I think that's really challenging in game development, to be able to do that successfully. And one of the coolest things was, you know, I've been on the project maybe 2 months, and everybody on the team is like sitting around in a room playing the game together, and it's fun. And I think in game development, when you're playing as a team early on and it's fun, like I worked on Frontierville, and Frontierville started being fun like pretty much, 3-4 weeks into development. And that's kind of what happened here too. If the game is fun early on, that's a really good sign for the fact that it's going to be fun, when you're still playing it years later.
That's awesome. And it's so cool again to hear about your profession where you're playing games and you're having fun doing it as part of your job. It's so awesome. That's the gaming life. And Tim, will you share with us something you're proud of when it comes to Arcane Showdown, or something very difficult that you overcame?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of with the game, and this was really led by John and Zoe, is the way that we approached the race design in the game. We were really trying to avoid some of the stereotypes and tropes that show up in fantasy world building. We wanted to make an art style that was appealing to a broad group of people, and we wanted to make characters that any kind of person could see themselves in those characters. And I think they did a great job at building that. I think it's a different kind of fantasy world, and just starting with that intention and trying to overturn some of the mistakes and the kind of embarrassing things that we as an industry have done for decades now. Is something that I'm most proud of with the game.
Hey, as you should be. I agree that the game, to me, not just that art style, is very original, and its authenticity has come from the fact that you all want to make a game that you like.
Yep.
Right on. Is there anything else that you want to share with the gaming life before we wrap up our interview? It could be anything from advice, or a special feature in the game, or something that's coming up in the future.
I mean, we're really excited about the Arcane Showdown launch, and we hope that people see this as a different kind of game on mobile. Mobile has the ecosystem that is mobile right now has some games that we love and think are good. There's a lot of other games that seem to be kind of reskins of other titles that maybe don't try to find an original and compelling voice. And so we do ask that if you like Arcane Showdown or any other game that you think is really trying something new and interesting and different in the mobile space, that you support it. And doesn't have to be us, but just be sure that when you have so many free-to-play games out there and you can easily jump between them. It can be helpful when you really find a game that you love and just go all in on that game. That's what I would ask of people on the gaming life.
Right on. Is there anything that you would like to add, John or Zoe?
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out, you said pick a feature. So the game, you can play 1v1, but you can also play 2v2. And we've worked really hard. We've added a lot of different ways that you can play 2v2 with your friends, with people in your guild. And I think it's just a really great experience to try out. And since you can play on mobile and you can play on Steam, you can really play with your friends anywhere. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, imagine us, around a conference room playing together, and we wanted to then get that out to have other people be able to play together in the same way. So definitely check out 2v2.
Thank you for mentioning that. I almost forgot to mention that myself. That's another feature in the game that I thought was really dope. And John, do you have something in particular? If not, I got a question for you. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I have something, and then you can ask me the question. But one thing is that, I feel like a comment we've heard again and again from people who've enjoyed the game are people who say, like, I don't typically like mobile games, or I don't typically play free-to-play games, but this one is really fun. So this is something that, I think, if people enjoy like strategy games, especially RTS games, but they're like kind of like, oh, I don't do this, like, go ahead and like dip your toes in the water, try it out, see if you like it. Because we have so many people who just didn't expect that this was their cup of tea because they're not mobile gamers first, and they're like, wow, mobile games can be fun. This is great. Aside from that, I'd say another like group that like, I think we have this really good, like interesting lore in the game where it's kind of like, it's both epic and cute and kind of funny and stuff. And I feel like people kind of like respond. And like Tim said, it's also very like diverse and inclusive. And I think that we've also got people who might not be strategy gamers first, but they kind of like dive into the world a bit, the art, they really enjoy a lot of the art in the game. So that's another group that I would, say likes the game. So, yeah.
I agree with you. Don't knock it till you try it. And one of the best parts, because I kind of used to be like that with gaming, one of the best parts of mobile games or playing a game on your tablet is that you can play it anywhere, unlike the console where you have to lug it around with you.
Yep.
So I absolutely agree. And the other question I had for John was any advice, especially for the people watching the Gaming Life Nation, on how to go from being a gamer to be on the other side of the industry and working on games, creating games?
Sure. Like I kind of like, I don't know if I follow, I mean, my path was like somewhat typical, but also not typical at the same time. You know, for me, like, I guess like when I talk to people about this, I say like, number one, play a lot of games, like a lot, especially if you like have one game that you like kind of like soak up and like really understand. Cause I think that's where it starts. You know, you have to be able to like really know a game well. Cause once you know a game well, then you can start to think about how you might change it or what you want to do with it. So that's one place to start. Then from there, you know, feel free, like try to like make your own games. You can do stuff, you know, on your computer, like digital games, like in Unity or Unreal, or you can just do stuff on paper, like kind of like paper prototype or make board games or card games on your own. Like it's kind of a quicker way to go about it. Because like when we like are looking at people who want to get in, like I want to see like what they've made. I mean, people have skills. Like I want them to have skills, but like I want to see something they've made. I want to be able to play it and check it out and see like, you know, can this person make something fun? It doesn't have to blow me away. It's just I just want to see, is there something there? You know, so that's kind of my advice. Otherwise, just try to you know, knock on all the doors. You know, like find the companies out there that are making the games that you like and you would want to work on, and like try to get in the door. Would be another one, you know. And obviously there are like, you know, there's programs and stuff too that will teach you some skills are good too. So
Thank you for those motivating words. It sounds like you're saying go out and do it. There's always some way to learn, especially in the year that we're in online. And I want to thank everyone, John, Zoe, Tim, thank you for the time to talk about Arcane Showdown. Gaming Life Nation, make sure you connect with big, huge games. Check out Arcane Showdown. Until then, keep on living your best G life. Peace.